Ready?
Yes.
Cool. Bastian, it's a pleasure to have you on the Well Me podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I feel very flattered.
So I want to get a clear picture before I get too deep into what you do in your practice. I want to understand who you were before you got into breathwork, into meditation, into yoga, all the stuff that you practice now. Who were you before that?
So basically, I was a normal, everyday, average, funny fella. And I was playing soccer. I was managing a gym before. And I was living a decent life. I was happy. I was healthy. And then, to come to this topic, breathwork, it happened when the first lockdown was present. And then I was sitting on a chair like this. I mean, not so comfortable right now, but almost. And I was reading a book about endurance. And then on 2 pages, the Wim Hof method was lined up, very briefly. And then I tried it out. And it was what the fuck? It was welcoming myself home in front of my closed eyes. And I had a feeling like I've never had before in my life. It was just, and it's not even spiritual. It's it was very physical, very, very close to myself. And then I was okay, I have to study that. I have to find out what's happening there inside my body. And then I studied Wim Hof. I studied his philosophy. And this method gave me a language. Because I was raised by my mother always very, very liberal, very open, nature, humans, plants. So there was no really a paradigm or a religion, but it was always drenched in love. And I was always vibing with every human and with the nature. And this method somehow gave me the language to express in words what I was already feeling with this method. And that's why for me this was trailblazing. And then I moved to on a Saturday to his place in Netherlands called Streu. And he invited 30 people.
Wim Hof?
Wim Hof, yeah.
Wow.
And
how did he invite you?
I was enrolling for a 2 days workshop. Mm-hmm. And before I went to him, I slept outside because I couldn't find any place to sleep. In Netherlands, everything was booked out, but I didn't care. I just wanted to see this man. And then the next day I woke up, I was happy like a cookie. And then I went to his place and I was a little bit nervous. Okay, now I'm going to see my guru somehow. And then he approached me, was like, "Hey, brother, how are you?" And he was so he was so funny and he was so approachable. He was not okay, now there's my guru. He was just a kid in a very old body. Not very old, but you know what I mean. And he's so, let's work out, let's jump from the cliff. And I was like, what the fuck? I was blown away by this liveliness. And then during this 2 days of Wim Hof method immersion, he did a breathwork session with us, with the 30 people. Man, after it was you have looked behind the curtain. Behind the curtain, there was another curtain. You even looked behind this curtain. And then you recognized who you are. Behind the stories, behind the names, just your pure energy and your pure soul. And I know this sounds a little bit like hippie and woohoo and hugging trees, but once you experience your own beauty in front of your closed eyes, you know how powerful breathwork and this feeling of feeling yourself is. And then after this session, I had one answer for all my questions. I knew what to do. It was like washing away the blurry side that I had before. And then I was like, okay, I have to facilitate breathwork. I have to coach breathwork. I have to do my Wim Hof instructor. So said and done, I did my Wim Hof instructor a couple of years later. And in the same year, when I did my Wim Hof instructor, I was competing on the stage as a bodybuilder. I was running high rocks on the World Championship. I was walking the Camino de Santiago, which is a beautiful thing. You need everyone. You and every human in this life needs to walk the Camino de Santiago. It's one of the most beautiful things that I've ever done in my life. So just a side course.
My friend's been telling me to for years.
Wow. Goosebumps. Please, Perry, do it. It's a different awakening. It's a different awakening, because when you walk every single day, you walk. At one point, your thoughts and your body get so aligned, because you made clean desk. You made clean desk with yourself, and then you walk, and then you meet people from all around the world, from different walks of life, and you don't need an icebreaker. You don't need a small talk. I get goosebumps. It talks about life. It talks about fears, shadows, everything, right away. And people really 18 years old, almost 70 years old, everyone is walking this way. And then you see this guy, you walk 2 hours with this guy, next day or 3 days later you see him or her again, and then you talk what you just experienced along the way. Really highly recommended. Once in your lifetime, be a pilgrim. And then moving on with my story, then I also went to Spain doing my Wim Hof instructor, all in 1 year, because I really locked in. I said to myself, okay, Bastian, now it's time to make a step towards the person that God have seen in you. And this is what I did. And since then, I'm hosting breathwork around the world. I'm traveling the world since 2 years and 3 months, and I was in Australia, New Zealand, in Laos, Vietnam, and everywhere that I have been, I made a little breathwork session, even when it's just for one person. And my goal is one day maybe I host breathwork all around the world in every single country, because I know breathwork can change a life. And this is not a spiritual bypassing or trying to sell something. And you don't even have to believe in breathwork. Just lay down and breathe. And you will see something that your mind cannot tell you. And this is incredible. It's incredible.
What you're saying resonates a lot with me, because I see breath as obviously one of the most fundamental aspects of life, of the human body. Without breath, you die. So it makes sense that such a powerful phenomenon and experience happens through a focused, technique and practice with the breath. I'm really curious though about what, in your words, is the difference between that superficial thought level idea of who you are and that actual experience of who you are behind the thoughts and behind the ideas that you said you felt during this first time ever practicing breath work. So what is it about breath work that quiets that part of the mind and allows you to reveal behind the curtain who you really are behind and beyond thought?
Excellent question. So our beautiful prefrontal cortex, this villain sometimes, or the insane guy, he's there for controlling, for measuring, and for putting us in a frame which is familiar. And when you breathe, and when you breathe with strongly, your prefrontal cortex gets weakened. It's called, a little bit theoretically, hypofrontality hypothesis. It means the blood flow of the prefrontal cortex redirects into deeper parts of your brain, where you gain access to emotions, to old stories of yourself, and even create brain waves of theta, delta, or even gamma, where you have this experience of I'm one with everything. So this is not only a thing of you have to believe in, it's really the magic of physiology. So there's some process happening in your brain which are super, super interesting. And this is what I have seen then behind the thoughts and the stories and the names. It was not a thought behind the thoughts, it was a feeling. It was a feeling that I that was so familiar without having a story. I remembered, but it was not attached to a story. And it sounds maybe, okay, but that's why you have to try breathwork, because then you kind of remember. It's a remembering, it's a deep reflection of yourself, who you are behind the things that society or your parents or your environment put in this vessel that you think you are, because you weigh more, way more. That what you think is just 1% of that what you truly are. And you can look on the other side for a little bit while doing breath work.
You talked about feeling and that non-narrative sense of self. I think that aligns with what I experience when I practice Qigong, which is like a meditative movement. And what you're doing with Qigong is you're placing all of your awareness inside of your body on the internal sensory signals that you feel through interoception and proprioception, right? So proprioception is like your three-dimensional map of your body in space, and interoception is the feeling of your heart beating and your lungs breathing, your blood vessels pumping. And when you focus entirely on that, it requires a lot of high-fidelity brain function to become aware of this. And so it actually will reroute the neural resources out of the default mode network, which is where the anxiety spirals and all the narrative sense of self happens. It's very useful, of course. I'm not saying it's bad, but it can be a hindrance when it comes to relaxing. and so what happens is it basically sucks those neural resources out of that part of the brain into the anterior insula, where you sense the entire inside of your body. And peace just is a natural side effect of that. And yeah, man, I think when you're experiencing that kind of floating, non-narrative sense of self beyond, there's no walls confining you there. I think what you said, the homecoming, is the best way to describe it. Is that what you experience when you're doing breath work? And is there a certain level that people have to get to before they can reach that state? Or can they kind of sometimes get to it right away?
I love your questions. So it's also a thing of letting go. Because when you're not letting go, or you don't give your permission to let go, you're still kind of attached of, what's going to happen here? Oh my God, breath work, which is okay. So breath work never requires something. It welcomes everything. And you always get the right dose of the medicine with every single breathwork session that you need in this moment. So sometimes I have guests that have this revelation or this epiphany right away and like, oh my God. And some, they just sit down and they are so calm and they feel, hey, it was nice and I feel myself, but it doesn't need to be like extraordinary or explosive. Healing and huge shifts can be also very, very silent and subtle. So that's why breathwork is for everyone. Either you want to raise your spirits, you want to gain greater awareness or more embodiment, or you want to calm yourself down. And of course, there are different modalities of, like Wim Hof is very, very active, but then you have, for example, conscious connected breathing or box breathing. And when you use the right tool for the right state, really it can add to your life like nothing else. Because you mentioned it before, the breath keeps you alive. And 3 minutes without breathing, you singing songs with the angels, 3 days of not drinking, you die, of course. 3 weeks of not eating, you gone. But all the humans tend to start with the things that they could survive the longest without. So they start using better nutrition or changing their diet. They drink alkalized water or something, but they don't change their breath. So it's like when you're breathing unconsciously or dysfunctionally the whole day, it's like eating crap food the whole day, because you're sending notes to your body all the time by flat and surface breathing, and tell your body, hey, I'm in stress. And when your body is in stress, you cannot even reap the benefits of a healthy diet. So please start with your breath, and then you can add up drinking osmosis water or eating like, of course, fruits and vegetables, but start with your breath. And it sounds very ordinary, but breathing is the key for a happier, healthier and stronger life. And this is what always Wim Hof said, and this is what I can say with 100% of conviction.
Beautiful. A little water first.
That was 1 milliliter of water that you just drank.
That's all I needed.
It was like watering the tip of your tongue.
I'm a little bee. It's nectar. That's beautiful. If we want to make it seamless, we have to stop laughing. Just kidding. It doesn't even matter. Well, what I want to say. I know what I want to say.
Okay, contenance.
But yeah, you're talking about how, Wim Hof, like, would always say, start with the breath. It kind of reminds me of that, parable of if you have a jar and you want to put a bunch of different rocks and sand inside of it. A bunch of stuff to put in. If you put all the sand in first, all the small stuff in first, you won't have room to put the rocks in. But if you put the big rocks in first, the priorities, then you can pour the sand and the little gravel around it. So, like, starting with the breath, the most fundamental element of life, clearly makes sense. Breath and sleep. Breath and sleep. Then worry about hydration and food and nutrition and then habits and all the other stuff. But, like, start with the most fundamental elements first.
I couldn't agree more.
Cool.
That's a very beautiful analogy with the stones and the smaller stones and with the sand. And people, they tend to, like, starting with nitty-gritty stuff and too much detail and, like, tracking. Okay, today I have a walking rate of 98% or whatever. But please start with your correct breathing. And you don't need always a tracking device, because you are a tracking device. If you wake up in the morning and you feel like shit, it maybe means you had a bad sleep or you're processing something. You don't need your I slept like shit. So people are so identified nowadays with digital devices that they forgot to listen to the most intelligent device that they have. It's the body. And the body is drenched in wisdom. And the body has so much data, and it's talking to you constantly. So are you still listening to your phone, or do you start listening to your body? And I bet you should start with your body.
Agreed. Yeah, they say the body is just a snapshot of who you've been for the past 2-3 weeks, 2-3 years, 2-3 decades. Like, your body shows that. I'm curious, like, whenever you do stop doing your practice, because it does happen to everyone from time to time, maybe not to you, but if there are periods where you kind of fall back from it, or just what is the difference that you experience in your own life whenever you are locked in with your practice, or from before you started practicing?
I think I just got more aware of who am I, of my emotions, of my surroundings. And I think breathwork transformed me in a even more kind person, more empathetic and more, not even more spiritual, but more like sensitive for the ways of life and the moments with humans and with nature. It's like a magnifying glass. You feel and see things closer and louder and more vivid. And when you do it right, without stressing you out, okay, I need to breathe. Like, sometimes I only breathe consciously, and it already has the effect of, okay, I'm alive. That's it. I'm alive. And this is what breathwork taught me, to be a better human. And yeah, that's the easiest and most profound answer that I can give you.
Yeah, I think simple answers are normally the best. I'd say in my own experience, my awareness of my breath would surface throughout everyday activities more and more and more. So in moments where I used to be stressed and just in my mind, working with people or whatever, even just, driving in traffic or waiting in a long line at the grocery store, I would notice, like, instead of being frustrated, I would be like, oh, I get to feel my breath. I don't have anything else to do right now. I just get to feel my breath right now.
I love this.
Lucky me. So it transformed these moments that used to cause me stress into moments of relaxation.
Beautiful. It's like kind of you're doing a mini meditation because you have time. So either you can check your phone or you just, okay, now I'm aware. I'm aware of my breath. I'm aware, okay, there is a human. I'm aware of objects around me. And then you jump into the present moment. And I think the present moment is a good place to be.
Yeah, they say all solutions to all problems arise out of the present moment.
Yes.
If you can't be present, you can't truly clearly perceive reality. But if you can be still, then you can merge with the situation and therefore be the exact puzzle piece that you need to be in order to create harmony in it.
Yeah, to be really in the present moment and to be aware of yourself reclaims your power and your attention. And when you are in the present moment, you detach kind of from your identity. Because when you think in the future or think in the past, you always think about, about like tasks or about who I'm going to meet or who I'm going to be. But in the present moment, these things, they don't matter. They don't matter if you have an appointment next day or you failed something in the last couple of days. The present moment gives you back your power. And it's magic. And it's easy. It's so easy.
It's true. I think a lot of people place this expectation of fireworks and some just energized feeling like I'm enlightened now, I get it, I see. But in reality, it's a very simple, mundane, almost unnoticeable difference. And I heard, maybe it was Suzuki, the great Zen master, I think he said the difference between normal everyday consciousness and enlightened consciousness is the exact same as normal everyday consciousness, but 2 inches off the ground. You're just kind of floating. Everything looks the same, but you're just kind of floating a little bit. It's a very subtle thing.
It's also a thing about practicing, like training your awareness. And do it every day, a minute or 2 minutes, like you said, when you're in the lane waiting for something or you're just sitting on a chair. Just, now I embrace the present moment and I do this and then it comes like a routine. It will be caved in stone for you. And then it has a beautiful effect also on your body and on your heart rate, because when you're in the present moment, this present moment like aligns a little bit with your energy. And when you calm down, or when the present moment is like calming, you calm down also. So this is a kind of reflection then, and you can calm down just by being in the present moment and doing your breath. So, yeah. Also, Eckhart Tolle wrote a whole book about now.
Yeah.
And every single page, I think, is just carrying the same message. Hey, be in the now. And of course, there are so many distractions in this world. There are jobs we have to do, friends, people that may hurt us. Okay, and that's fine. This is the experience of being a human. But don't forget also to live in the now, because when you're always in the future or in the past, you're losing a lot. You're kind of losing yourself, and that's why this book and the message behind it. It's also simple but profound.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons I trust him, is because he's only ever had one message. He doesn't have all these dogmatic teachings and practices. It's just one clear, simple message. And I think it's difficult for the human mind to understand what it means that the present moment is all there is, because we're so steeped in this concept of time, where we associate the fact that matter and energy have changed their shape. They've rearranged themselves. So that means that that was the past, and this new arrangement of the present moment is the future or something different. But like when I'm moving my hand from here to here, you could say that took me 1 second. But if you really look closely, it's now.
Yeah.
It's now.
Now,
It's now.
now,
It's
now,
now.
yeah.
It's now. It's now. It's still now. So just because matter and energy have rearranged themselves doesn't mean the present moment has changed. So you can't confuse what happens in the present moment with the space of the present moment. And when you see that distinguishment, and can feel it, not just like, intellectually conceive it, it changes everything, man.
Yeah. Wow, I love that.
So how does breathwork work? So if I'm going to sign up for one of your classes, either in person here or if, we work online together, what do I need to do to prepare for it? What can I expect? Not that I want to have all these expectations, but just kind of demystify what does an actual session look like?
So, first of all, the holy grail is safety. So, because the breathwork that I conduct or I deliver, transport to my clients is mostly very activating, and it's activating also the nervous system, like the sympathetic nervous system. And when someone has a little bit of like a health history or some problems with heart or whatever, I will check in with this human before, and I will tick the boxes. And if this human still wants to attend my classes, then it's all about slow breathing and conscious breathing and just enjoying my guidance, my voice, and the music. And of course, if everything is fine, you're healthy, and then you come to my class, and then we do meditation before, we do a little bit of conscious exercises to just get a sense of their body. And then we start with the breathwork. And the breathwork mostly goes like 25 to 30 minutes itself. And I always cover different topics. The topics are the relationship to your body, the relationship to the now, and also talking about people that you want to forgive, maybe forgiving yourself. So I definitely touch on very, very emotional topics. And after the breathwork, it's mostly a space out where I just leave the people and experiencing, enjoying the moment without talking too much. Of course, still accompanying them with nice music. And after we do a sharing circle where everyone, if they want to, can share, hey, this was my feeling, this was my insight. And if they want to stay silent, of course, they also can stay silent. So my breathwork workshops are very, very open. I also tell my guests, if you don't want to breathe like crazy today or you feel uncomfortable, you can always breathe normal. So I'm not like a thrill instructor and say, hey, breathe, 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 and you have to be loud and you have to scream and cry. No, it doesn't matter. Breathe a little bit more or just breathe in your own rhythm, and that's totally fine. And even if you don't like me in my session and you don't like my voice or the music, you can also just stand up and you can go, and I don't take it personal. So this is what you can expect from my breathwork. It is very challenging, but it can also be, it is also soft as melting butter. Because it is definitely deep work. Breathwork is deep work. And breath work, it's not usually, when you really go into the process, it's not a picnic. And it's not a walk in the park. We really go, okay, let's go. But as I said, if you don't want to, just relax and breathe normally. And the outcomes, it's multifaceted. So either you feel relaxed, or you let go of someone, or you forgave yourself, or you have a crazy nice insight for a new business idea. It has every colors of the rainbow. So the outcomes, it's never the same for anyone. One guy can experience this, and the guy next to him can experience a completely different story, because everyone is a completely different story, and everyone comes with his own aroma, with his own vibe and state. So breathwork cannot be put under one umbrella. It can be everything, and everything can happen. And some people, they fall asleep, they snore, and they chill, and afterwards they go home and say, hey, it was nice, I felt well, but it was nothing crazy. And some people, they go home and say, hey, no, let's fucking change the world. But it's never like, okay, we have to chase any sensations. Not at all. It is a very, very delicate frame. And nobody has to go there with expectations of, okay, now my life-changing moment is happening. It's always very healthy to be curious, but don't go with crazy expectations, because expectations, they closes the door of perception. And when you put your mind, or when you try to secure something already, then you're like trying to shape something before something happens, and then the whole perception can be smaller and narrowed. So being curious, it's the key, and being open and not having crazy expectations. And then maybe you talk with Jesus, or you have the 1 in a million idea, or maybe you just fall asleep. So okay. Yeah.
I'm always down to get some good sleep. One more check, then I got So one thing I want to dive into is the connection between emotional release and the breath. So do you have any insights into this actual physiological principle and relationship between emotions and the breath?
Very good question. So just to like open that topic a little bit, an emotion is pretty much a physical, noticeable information for your body. And everyone reacts different to emotions based on their experience and past. And some people, they're not really feeling their emotions, because emotions, they want to be felt. It's also interesting, the Latin word for emotion is emovere, and it means to move out, moving. And breathwork brings the emotion into movement. It's pretty much, some emotions are frozen inside us, because back in the days someone said, hey, you have to make yourself small or shut up, and then something got stuck in the nervous system, and this frozen energy is still imprinted in your nervous system, which can affect your body in your fascia. It changes your posture or chronic pain. And through breathwork, you're melting these emotions. And by melting emotions, it can bring tears to your eyes. And then the body knows what to do once the body feels safe. And then you cry, or you shake, or you laugh, or you just have a very silent release of emotions. So this is pretty much the idea, emotions, emotion release, nervous system, and breathwork behind, in a nutshell. Yeah.
I love that. I love the emotions, the stuck, frozen emotions. When they melt, they become tears. That's beautiful.
It's not my quote. So all credits in this moment to Max Strohm. He's from America, and he's also a great breathwork coach. And he posted that recently, and I read it, and I was like, wow, this is a fucking great quote.
Beautiful. Yeah. So after, powerful experiences such as, breathwork, meditation, awakenings during like Vipassana retreats, psychedelic experiences where you have massive doors opened inside of your mind, you have huge realizations. when you go back into the ordinary world, it can be difficult to maintain a connection to this shift that you experienced. Albert Einstein said, a consciousness that has been expanded into a higher dimension can never fully return to its previous state. So I do believe no matter what happens, a seed of that awakening experience does remain in you and will slowly grow. But what advice do you have for people, or practices, or what offerings do you have to help people integrate what they experienced? And you offer ongoing coaching after these experiences or in your own life to help people, grow in other areas of their self.
Great question. So basically every time after my sessions, or when I have a mentorship or a one-on-one coaching with my clients, I tell them to slow down, to not try to change the world the next day just because you had this idea, but reflect on it, journal it, and reflect on it with other people, talk about it, and also take it very slowly and be gentle on yourself, because when you are in a very particular state after breathwork, you are also very susceptible for different energies. That's why after breathwork, integration is slow and very, very reflective. And you can use different modalities, but my most important modality that I use is really reflecting on myself, note it down, and then also practice it. Practice it every single day. In a couple of days, mostly 66 days, you start to weave in that new insight, that new feeling, that expanded consciousness, and then it gets baseline. For example, when you had an insight of you want to listen to your intuition more after a breathwork session because something inside told you, hey, my love, please listen to your body or listen to your intuition, because you forgot in the past years to listen to your intuition. You can start practicing by just taking a moment before a decision, closing your eyes. What is the mind talking, or what is my body saying when I think about that upcoming decision? Maybe my mind tells me, yes, go for it. There's a nice possibility for you. But maybe your body, your intuition says, maybe you shouldn't go for that. That's why feeling first and then deciding consciously after. And this is, for example, an outcome or an integration that you can use when it comes to your intuition. So practice, like reflecting, journaling, and then also practicing in your everyday life. And then you can incorporate it, integrate it in your life.
Yeah. So I guess the journaling and the speaking with you, especially on an ongoing basis, would help to create clarity around that transformational experience they had. The continued practice of breathwork will help them to stay connected to it. And the more they do that, the more of a baseline it'll be for their everyday life, and they can integrate it deeper and deeper into everyday life. So I think it's so important to dive into this at least a little bit, this difference between thinking about something, about a feeling, and feeling a feeling. Huge difference, night and day. So for me, and I'm a fairly sensitive person. I was raised with 2 older sisters, and I've just always been fairly sensitive. I'm a musician, and even for me, being pretty in touch with my emotions, dude, it's difficult sometimes to actually connect with the feeling within myself. Recently, something sad kind of happened, and I read the news, and then I just set my phone down and was like, oh. And I had to stop myself. I was like, wait, no. I should feel something about this. I should feel something. I felt nothing. I was blank. And it took me intentional effort to excavate the emotions within me. And once I really allowed myself to dive into that, then all of a sudden I began crying. I was like, oh my goodness, thank goodness I didn't keep this bottled up. Thank you for, creating the awareness in the space to actually release this. So my point is, I think a lot of men especially struggle to feel. They might even think they're feeling, but they're not. Or they think they're not feeling, like I don't feel anything about that, but really they're just not allowing themselves to perceive it. So what advice do you have for approaching this difference between thinking about a feeling and feeling a feeling?
So there is a beautiful quote, overthinking is under-feeling. And I think when in times of stress kind of is a high level of cortisol. And when you're very, very engaged with your job or with like having concernings about anything, then your mind is so busy and your level of cortisol is so high that it's harder for you to detach from your thinking mind and to dive into your feelings, to your body. And that's why practicing and repetition is so important, to meditate or to do yoga, to calm down your chatterbox, to open up the space for your body or your emotions. Because when you are stressed out, our emotions, they find it hard to show up because you're so preoccupied all the time with your thoughts. But at one point, your emotions wants to be felt, and then they explode. So that's why on a regular daily basis, you have to actually sit down a little bit and to meditate and to drop and tune into yourself and to feel what's going on there without trying to judge it, without trying to change anything, but feel. Feeling is healing. And to feel better, we have to become better feelers. But we are very good thinkers. We are very good in narrating all our stories and reflecting who we are, who we are. But we lost the connection to our emotions because we're so rushing and running and performing that this is a lost art. Feeling emotions is a lost art. And that's why daily practicing, sitting down, closing your eyes or even open eyes and feel what's there. And at a certain point also, the thought process will calm down. But of course, when you still keep rushing for things, for tasks to do, your mind doesn't switch off because it keeps up the cortisol level. But as you slow down, also slowing down your breath, your mind comes down, your cortisol levels can plummet or decrease, and then you open the gates for your emotions. So meditating, breathwork, yoga, going into the gym, whatever, but work with your body. Somatic work, body work is the key to open up to your body and also to feel your emotions.
I think it's important to understand that why aspect, because when you don't really understand how big an impact this has, it can be difficult to persuade yourself to actually sit down and feel, because it's like, what does it matter? But when you're talking about how this actually impacts your daily life, the way that your thoughts move through your mind is directly correlated to your emotions, whether you're aware of them or not. And I heard it described once as we all have primordial instinctual feelings, such as fear or anger or, these different primordial feelings. And those are natural. Even animals have them. But emotions are spin-offs of these base primordial instincts that are generated by thoughts. So a thought of, okay, I hear that someone's car was stolen. I go, oh, that sucks. Damn. And then I hear my car was stolen. Now all of a sudden I'm stressed. It's a thought.
Yeah.
The little thought of my all of a sudden generates huge emotion. So there's a big difference between just, feelings and emotions. But when you don't release these emotions, they don't go anywhere. They stay inside of you. they create more thoughts, which then create more of the same emotions, which then
Yes.
create more of the same thoughts.
Yes.
So if you want to actually change your life, you have to be able to change your emotions, which means feeling them and releasing them.
Yes. Hell yeah.
It's so important.
It's so important. And it's also important to cry sometimes and to also to express your anger. Of course, don't punch someone, but go into the gym or having a boxing boxing bag in front of you and transform it into energy, because anger and
Fear,
anger and
rage,
fear
yes,
it's an emotion, and it wants to be moved through you, and then you can express this, and then you can calm down. But if it stays in you, it's like a volcano, and one day the volcano will erupt, and then the impact or the effect it's too much, and then you cannot deal with it anymore, and then you either like put your thing in the pharmacy, you're taking pills, or you need to go to therapy, which is not a bad thing, therapy, but I think you can start by feeling your emotions and also trying to transport them and transmute them into movement, into energy.
The somatic key is element is key. It's, I think, what keeps the energy from being directed inwards into your cells, right? Like, this is where disease or dis-ease comes from. It's from unreleased energy.
Yeah.
And animals have this natural response. It's neurogenic tremors. Forgot the actual phrase, but it's where, like, they'll just start spasming. If something frightens them, they'll just like have these spasm attacks, and then they're gone, and they just trot off.
Yeah.
And humans also have this, but we have the ability to suppress them, and we get in the habit of suppressing them because revealing them is a sign of weakness. So it's huge, I think, man. For me, whenever I work out, I get into the zone. Like I'm I have like this kind of stern, intense face on. Like, you've seen me. Like sometimes I'm chill, but like a lot of times I'm really focused, and it's because, first of all, working out, it's causing pain. It's self-inflicted pain, but it's how I release this internal rage, that just is inside of all of us. And if you ignore it, doesn't mean it's not there. It's just part of your shadow. Carl Jung always talks about, like, you have the side of yourself that you know, and you have the side of yourself that you don't allow yourself to see. And it's going to come out eventually if you don't acknowledge it.
And it's operating in the background, and it still can navigate you. So face it. What you can face, you can transform. What you don't face controls you.
Yeah, man. And it takes courage.
Yes.
It takes courage, man. Courage can't exist without fear. If you don't have fear, there's no need to be courageous. So, yeah, it's not fun, but it is brave and powerful.
Yeah. I totally agree.
So, before we wrap up, I just want to understand a little bit more about you and your practice, as in beyond just breath work. How do you cultivate an optimal state of being that allows you to be who you want to be and show up in your relationships the way you want to show up in your job the way you want to show up? Like, what are kind of some of the key fundamental principles that you live by and practices that you never go a day without?
Of course, breath work, movement, the right nutrition, having a purpose in life that drives you, being embraced in nature, eating real food or don't eat at all, like doing a fasting, and of course the beauty of human connection, to relate to humans and to talk to humans and to exchange energies. These are, I would say, and sleep, of course, sleep, are my key principles for a healthy life, and to show up in my best self.
Yeah, I think it's very nice whenever someone is speaking about something that they teach, and it's very obvious that they practice it. And it's very obvious that you practice everything that you preach, man. You're in phenomenal shape. You have such a calm, grounding presence. Your mind is so clear, crisp, sharp, calm. Yeah, man, you really are an embodiment of what you teach. And I see that and I appreciate it. I'm glad that you are putting yourself out and actually sharing this gift with other people. Truly.
Wow, thank you. Really, it struck a chord in me. This is the right saying?
Yes, it is.
It struck a chord, yeah. Thank you, really.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I just can reflect on that, brother, and right back at you. I really do appreciate you as a person, and you're a great guy. And I told you already a couple of times in the gym, I really appreciate your presence and also the thing that you radiate in the world. It's nice. It just tells me and shows me, hey, I'm not alone. There are many people that are like bringing light into the world and trying to help others and support others. This is what we need, like supporting others. This is why we survive in this world, because we're offering hands and we support and we're going together. And that's beautiful.
Absolutely, bro. Well, thank you for the inspiration. Thanks for coming on the Blow Me podcast. Appreciate you, Bastian.
My pleasure. My
and
pleasure.
hopefully we can do this again sometime.
I would love to. I would love to. Thank you.
All right, peace, brother. You're amazing, man.
Yes.
Great conversation.
Really beautiful.
Yeah.
Really
A
beautiful.
lot of gold in there.
Yes.
The podcast.
No, it's. I think it's and very also a very good question. I really was. I already knew what you're gonna ask before you finished your sentence. I was like, yes, I want to answer because it's so nice, elaborated. Like you're.
Well, sometimes I intentionally lead up to a question like for a long time, so you can have time to think about what I'm going to say.
Yeah. And of course, like I got different pokes, and I like it's like culminating, and then you get the answer. And, yeah,
It's so funny. It's building up. Yeah. No, I always, I enjoy this as well.